You need to sign this form,
Karen said, sliding a paper across the table with a smirk sharp enough to slice through my last nerve.
We're officially registering your horses as HOA community property.
I raised an eyebrow. My horses Storm and Lily are now what?
Community property.
She repeated, folding her arms.
They've been grazing on HOA land, so technically that makes them HOA assets.
I stared at her. Karen, they stuck their heads over the fence and nibbled a little grass. That's not trespassing. It's called being a horse.
The bylaws state,
She said smugly.
any personal property benefiting from HOA land may be claimed by the association.
Ah, so this was a play. A ridiculous one, but a play nonetheless. Fine. She wanted to game the system? I'd play right back. See, ever since I moved into my non-HOA home, yep, not part of their jurisdiction, Karen, the self-appointed queen of the HOA, had treated me like an intruder. The first day I moved in, she marched up with a clipboard.
Do you have a permit for those animals?
She'd asked, sniffing like Storm. My gray gelding was radioactive. I'm not in the HOA, I replied, smiling. That twitch in her jaw told me I'd ruined her week. She hated the fact that I had land, horses, and freedom she couldn't control. She'd filed complaints about manure smells, flies, and even claimed Storm and Lily were psychologically intimidating to the neighborhood. But this was a new low. And you're planning to use my horses for what, exactly? I asked.
We'll feature them at the community fair. Pony rides, petting zoo. It's a perfect opportunity.
I smiled slowly. Great. That means the HOA is now financially responsible. Feed, boarding, vet care. It totals around $5,000 a quarter. I'll have an invoice sent over. She blinked.
What?
If you're claiming my horses, then they're yours. On paper and on budget. The next morning, she found the invoice in her mailbox. $5,000, due in 30 days. That night, she was at my door, face flushed with rage.
This is harassment.
No, Karen, I said, sipping my tea. This is accounting. At the next HOA meeting, which I attended as a concerned neighbor, Karen tried to spin the story.
It was a misunderstanding.
You submitted a signed claim, I interrupted. You tried to seize my horses, so either pay up or retract the letter. Board members muttered. One whispered about liability. Another said,
We really can't afford a lawsuit.
I think it's best we remove this item from the agenda.
Someone added quickly. Karen tried to save face.
Fine, the horses are his, it's resolved.
But she wasn't done yet. A week later, I found a legal notice taped to my door. Karen had filed a lien against my property for unauthorized grazing. That's when I called Tom, my lawyer buddy, who practically cackled as we prepared a harassment counterclaim. Then I started asking around. Turns out, Karen had fined a neighbor for putting a gnome in their garden, another for using a basketball hoop, and someone else for having their kid's bike on the porch. At the next HOA meeting, the room was packed. I brought copies of all the complaints. You're weaponizing your position, I said calmly to Karen, and you filed fraudulent paperwork against someone outside your jurisdiction. One board member stood.
I motion to remove Karen as HOA president.
The vote was unanimous. 3 weeks later, a for sale sign went up on Karen's lawn. We threw a backyard barbecue to celebrate. The neighborhood kids fed Storm and Lily carrots and apples, while the adults laughed and shared HOA horror stories. I hung the original invoice on the barn wall. A little memento of what happens when someone pushes too far. Never try to rope a cowboy, especially not with his own horses.